What is going on? We're here with another edition of the N1 podcast. And unfortunately, we thought we were not going to have the bane of the show on tonight. The man who only wants to talk Lakers, but he's here, and that would be Fred.
What's going on, man? What's going on, Con Man?
And now we're also joined by the Con Man.
What's going on, y'all?
Oh, it's going. Where's Key at? She said she was coming over here.
I'm in the back. Hush your face. I'm still driving home.
Oh, okay.
Who you think started the show?
I thought my ghost did.
That is something else. But people, the king of blasphemy is here, so the show will definitely be taking a turn.
I thought we was going to have a peaceful show. Lord, I'm so sorry, y'all.
That's all right. That's all right, because we already had topics picked out. So, of course, I'm going to go ahead and jump on it. The first thing we were wanting to discuss, and I'll let Freddie go to detail in this since he's graced us with his presence. The Phoenix Suns owner. You kind of know about that situation. So, Freddie, why don't you give us a little background into what happened with that, and we would love to start here about your thoughts to begin.
You know, this is a conversation that, nobody wants to have, that I don't want to have, and that we shouldn't have. It's just that people still don't realize that there's certain things that you just can't do. When you are an owner or when you're in a workplace, you can't be conducting yourself, calling somebody an N-word, being male chauvinist, being, touching females in a sexual way or anything like that. When you're, and a lot of times people that have money feel like they can do whatever they want to do. They feel like they're empowered to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. And it's unfortunate that, Adam Silver, who, me personally, I have a lot of respect for, because I do like Adam Silver as a commissioner, but at the end of the day, I do feel like he got this wrong. You first come into the league and you hand out, with the Sterling situation, you ban him for life, remove him as ownership, and okay, we're like, okay, this dude have guts, this dude here standing for right. But with this situation, you pause and you say, okay, we're just going to suspend you for a year and you're going to fine him $10 million. The fining is not going to do anything. This man's almost a billionaire, ladies and gentlemen. That don't hurt his pocketbooks. Let's be honest. And it's bad that one of the owners of the team also released a statement as well, asking for him to put his resignation in. And which, we know that's not going to happen because the guy don't believe he did anything wrong at the end of the day. And there's a reason why that Adam Silver did not remove him, because he know that it will open up Pandora's box with other owners in the NBA. It could be a situation where he's holding them hostage. Like, okay, y'all get me out of here. I'm letting everything out the bag. I'm letting everything that's been said, everything that's been emailed, all that good stuff out the bag. So it's a reason why that has not been handled the way that we all want it to be handled. LeBron, Chris Paul, and others have spoken very highly on the situation, but it's definitely still a sad day in the world to know that people still think the way they think, talk the way they talk, and just do things that they do.
Well, while Con Man's getting his stuff set up, I'll give you my take on this. This is hot garbage. So what I want to understand is, months ago, Deshaun Watson, a player that was never convicted of anything. I don't care how you feel about him. I don't care if you feel like he did it or not. The evidence does not back that up. Public outcry. Every time you go on Facebook, every time you go on Twitter, every time you go anywhere else, all you're hearing is, oh, Deshaun Watson should be suspended for a year or more. He's a sex addict, and all these things that people can conjured up, and all these negative things that were said about him. There's a few things I can think of that's different between him and the Phoenix Suns owner. I'll let you draw your own conclusions on that. But answer me this: where's the public outcry for this misogynistic person, racist and misogynistic person? These things were proven, not speculation, proven. And all he gets is a slap on the wrist. And you mentioned Pandora's box. Wouldn't we say Pandora's box was open when you made Sterling give up his team? So what changed, Mr. Silver? What changed for between then and now? Why is the public, for one, not outraged? Why, for two, is the NBA not outraged? Why did you not follow through on the own precedent that you set? That's what I'd like to understand. Why are you allowing someone to basically get a slap on the wrist and just not be publicly seen? Let's be real. I run a big business. You tell me I'm suspended for a year. I'm still getting paid. I just can't show up to things where I can be publicly seen. I can still run my business behind the scenes. And that's what's going to happen. Basically, you stay out of spotlight for a year. We get slapped on the wrist at $10 million fine, which is like $10 to us. And then you chill out for a little bit till everything blows over. Like Freddie said, there has to be the fact that he has other information that they don't want to get out. But here's the problem with that. Eventually it's going to come out, because if we had a public that really was for all the things that they claim they were during this whole Deshaun Watson situation, they would be back here. Another example, an owner in the NFL, Robert Kraft, goes and gets happy endings from a massage parlor that has sex trafficked women there. What do they do to him? Nothing. Nothing. And then he has one of the people that actually had the nerve to come out and say that Deshaun Watson should be ashamed of himself and get more punishment. That's how the NFL handles those things when it's owners and it's those people. So I just want to say this is another example of people not really being punished for doing things that they should be punished for doing. There's another owner in the NFL that needs to come under scrutiny and lose his team, as well as this jerk that needs to lose his team in Phoenix, and that's Daniel Snyder. So we're being shown on different fronts that it doesn't matter how you treat women. It doesn't matter how you treat people of color, what you say to them, how you treat them in your organization.
Cool.
They can do what they want to do.
I want to piggyback off what you said, and I'm not going to say it as much as you did, because I felt like you was very careful with a lot of things that you said, but you was definitely spot on with what you said, though. But let's be honest. And then before I say this, I want to clarify something. I love all people in this world, girl, boy, female, man, black, white, Asian, whatever color you are. I don't look at you as the color. I look at you on the inside. That's how I was raised. But facts are facts, brother. You know, just like I know, certain folks can't do what certain folks can do. If this was a black man, this situation would be a lot different than it turned out to be. He would have been he would have been banned from the league. He would have been he would have been killed by the media. I mean, the media um, um, the media would have been talking about this case from day one. It's not getting that much coverage. It's sad to see that too, because we're still talking about equality, and this is another example where equality is not even on all for all types of people in the world. And it still shows you, just like you said, you pointed out very adamant on, very spot on. This shows that the league do not give a crap about a female's respect, and it's just sad. It's really sad. It really is.
Fellas, I'd like to say my piece, but I'm getting reverberation. Something's
Maybe
wrong
try
with
leaving and coming
the
back.
audio with me. I can't really hear you guys very well.
Well, comment, Matt, you might need to leave and come back, brother. Key, while he's getting set up, what is your thought process on this? If you can give it to us.
I know I'm in the car. I just think it's just crazy. I know, we go back to Donald Sterling. He did the same thing, but he's no longer an owner. We got PayPal taking their logos off of the Suns jerseys because they said they're not going to sponsor them anymore until he's out of there. So why not? I think Adam Silver, he is a good commissioner out of all the major sports teams. I think Adam Silver has done an excellent job with the NBA, but I think he needs to pull him. I honestly think so. I think he needs to take matters into his own hands, and just for, like you said, Freddie, equality. We after all these years, we still trying to figure this out. This is why Kaepernick took a knee, not because he disrespected the military. It's because look at everything that's going on. So I think Adam Silver needs to do something higher, more longer than a suspension and $10 million. Like Cole said, that's a slap on the wrist.
If that.
And just let's put some more facts on the table, and we give Adam Silver for getting rid of Donald Sterling, but let's be honest, the pressure was on him because there was people that was willing to step away from the game of basketball. Magic Johnson threatened not to go to a basketball game ever, as long as he was still owner of the Clippers. LeBron James and I believe Chris Paul was not willing to play again, and other players was not willing to play another game until he was removed. So even though Adam Silver, he deserved the credit, he did remove him, but he did feel some pressure behind it as well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the thing. Things happen when there's pressure, and I find it so funny that there's no pressure now. I find it so funny that a player, get in the punishment that the player got, right? It's always harsh, but the punishment that these owners get for doing way worse is always, for the most part, like you said, except for that one time, for the most part, it's terrible. And the thing is, well, so we have a comment. It's from a Facebook user, so I don't know who it is, but reflection of not owning anything and not having power to gripe. So everyone has power to gripe, but people don't
Last
care.
year I got Elliot. I just looked at it. So I got Elliot from
okay. So what's up, Elliot? But here's the thing, Elliot. You don't have to have ownership because they're not going to let you get ownership because they don't want you to have ownership. But no one's griping. Everyone is allowing this situation to just be what it is. What have you heard besides the initial story? You don't hear any outrage. You don't hear anything being said on Facebook, any of your social media platforms about this. You have nowhere near the same rage and outrage that you had about the situation that just happened. I use that because it's the thing that just happened recently. I'll let Conman hop in and give his comments, but the problem is no one's talking about it. So they're just going to let it brush under the rug and everything continue.
Good comment, you there?
Yeah, I think Conman's something's going on with Conman's situation tonight. But yeah, people have to step up. People have to stand up for this, and people have to let it be known that this is not acceptable. And that's until that happens, this is the kind of thing that's going to continue, right? If there's no repercussions for doing these things, for the actions, besides a slap on the wrist, why not? Fact of the matter. If you go rob stores and they say, "Hey, shame on you for robbing the store. You owe us $10. You can't go back in that store for a year." A year later, you'll probably go rob the same store again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just one example, but several could have been used. But the situation is ridiculous. It has to be better, and people have to care. And this is the problem that you have, that you can go in so many directions. This is why the WNBA doesn't make money. Because people don't care. That's why. It's just it's disappointing and sad to see.
Comment, are you there now?
He's still freezing up. If Comment can hop on, and of course we'll, circle back around to the topic to allow
a little bit better. I hear you guys a little bit better.
Okay. What's up, Key? Live in the building. All right, so yeah, we can always roll back around to that, circle back if Comman's able to get on and get everything straightened out on his end. But I also had a couple more things to talk about tonight. So, hey, we might as well keep the show moving along. So the next topic is an interesting one. So the question was raised. We want to talk about it. Does Kevin Durant need another ring without Golden State, specifically Steph Curry, to cement his legacy?
Yeah. You know why? Kevin Durant, you chose Kyrie over Steph. Kevin Durant, what championship can you say that you've done it on your own? Like you was the reason why they won. Like you built that team. Kevin Durant. I mean, people criticize LeBron for going to Miami, but they don't criticize you like they should. So I'm gonna criticize you, sir. You joined. You was on a team. Matter of fact, that people was predicting that Oklahoma City would win that season. Let's not forget, because they felt like they had the squad to beat them. You had a Russell Westbrook. You had a Andre Robinson, who was a good 3-and-D guy, really good perimeter defender. By the way, you had Serge Ibaka. You had Steven Adams. I mean, you had players around you that you can win. We thought that it was going to be capable of win. I believe that team even had Jeremy Grant on that team as well. But so you guys had the power to beat them. But what happened? Yes, Russell Westbrook choked, but he wasn't the only one. Kevin Durant, there was times in that finals where you came up short as well in the Western Conference Finals. So it wasn't just Russ Westbrook. It's easy to throw. This is like I try to tell my sister Key. They try to blame Ben Simmons. They throw him under the bus, but they do not want to throw it at Joel Embiid for turning the ball over 7 times in that game as well. They always want to kill Ben Simmons because he didn't want to go for the dunk. I understand that was a crucial moment. That was 2 points. But if Joel Embiid would not have turned the ball over as much, those are points as well that you lost. But nobody criticized him. Same thing with Russell Westbrook. They criticized Russ so much. They didn't want to criticize Kevin Durant. Well, KD, you was a part of that. So what did you do? You didn't even go to the Washington Wizards. You didn't want to go back home. You could have went anywhere, but you chose to go to Golden State, a team that won 73 games the year before last and beat your ass in the Western Conference Finals. That whipped it. But you did not want to. You wanted the easy way. And so you won your couple championships in Golden State, and then hey, people started coming at you. Draymond Green called you what he called you, and you was done. Okay, and so instead of you yet again going to a team that you could build, you wanted to go get a guy, Kyrie Irving. Like Kyrie Irving, we know what Kyrie Irving was up here. We knew what that brother was about. You wanted to go there. You wanted to go to a team to hire your coach and Steve Nash, who have never even coached on the high school level, not even on the little league level.
Hey, you, Rick.
Then you want to
Junior college.
yeah. Then you want to bring in DeAndre Jordan. Then you want to bring in Blake Griffin. Oh, by the way, let's give up the farm for James Harden. Oh, James Harden, put on your fat suit. By the way, he get there. That was a disaster because Kyrie Irving didn't want to come to work. By the way, he had bigger things than basketball on the mind. So it's been a disaster from the day since day one. But yes, he needs to win another championship. We hold certain ones to this high standard, and we expect so much out of them. We expected so much out of Shaq, out of Kobe, and out of LeBron and Kevin Durant. You got to win one more, needs to outside of Steph to make sure your legacy is set.
Okay. Well, comment since you weren't able to, give your thoughts on the last topic. We'll circle back around and let you give your thoughts, and then Key will let you go, and I'll go last.
You want me to go? I'm going.
Comment. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
This is regarding the prior topic or the one we're talking about right now.
You can knock out both of them, sir.
Okay. Well, getting back to the owner of the Phoenix Suns. First of all, I'm glad to be on with you all, man. I appreciate everything that Freddie has done. I feel great being on the show. I think it's going to be a great show. But getting back to the ownership, you see, here's a couple of things what you guys didn't bring up. The fact is, okay, we said this has been going on for 18 years. And the thing about it is, this was known a year ago. They all knew this a year ago. No one, they just said, oh, we're going to wait to the playoff run. We're going to wait. We're going to chill. We're going to wait. This was already established a year ago. This has already been known for that fact. And for the NBA to do what they did, I think it was not the right punishment. $10 million is like a slap in the wrist. Give them a year's suspension really doesn't do that much. And the fact is, the way that Adam Silver, who I do totally respect for the way he's conducted the NBA and the things he did with the other owner of the Clippers, it seemed like he was really uncomfortable the way he spoke. It seems like he knew that there were some issues there that he couldn't probably do because his hands might have been forced for the fact that he does work for the owners. And he can only apply that fine of $10 million. That's the most he could possibly do. But the thing that would really upset me, because I've been watching all the shows all day, of course, is that, he was saying like a lot of this stuff was done years ago. He got staff members saying they did this as recent as last year and prior to that and after that fact. So to put you guys, I heard what you guys were saying. All that is very true, but this could have been done last year. This could have been done like during the season or when they actually found out. But they waited, I think, a little too long. I think that, Chris Paul put in a difficult situation because at that time when things were going on, he was head of the Players Association. And I don't know how he felt about handling it because it puts him in a very precarious situation as well. This situation is not done yet. PayPal, who's a big sponsor of them, they said they're going to back out. So, at the end of the day, when it hits the money line, things will happen. As more and more sponsors leave, I think things will materialize and that there's going to be a lot more done. He can't go back. He can't go back to the Phoenix Suns. How he's going to look going back to that team and all that stuff going on? There's no way he can go back and take a year's suspension and he's going to come back and think that everything's going to go back to normal. So I don't want to, keep talking too much, but the fact is he got a year suspension and he got a $10 million fine. I don't think it's the end of it. I think the players are going to end up doing something as well. I think that's going to materialize real soon, sooner than later. As far as the KD situation, does he need another ring to address his legacy? Now, the question is, who's the one that's going to judge his legacy? What I mean by that, this man has the opportunity to play with Golden State, won back-to-back MVPs, had it made. He then left Golden State because he wasn't happy. He left Oklahoma State because he wasn't happy. Then he wants to leave Brooklyn because he wasn't happy. Then he wants to get rid of Steve Nash and the general manager because he wasn't happy. So when you all talk about legacy, whose legacy? From what we say or what he says? Because I don't think he's ever going to be happy with his legacy. What they came out with the 2K, he was like 97 or 98. He complained about that. The man's never going to be happy. He's never going to be sad. He made what, 45 mil a year? To answer your question, whose legacy? And who's the one that's going to determine his legacy? Because if he's the one that's going to determine his legacy, it ain't going to happen. Would it be beneficial if he did, because he would have won it without Steph Curry and Draymond and Golden State? Would it make his point a little bit more valid? Probably. But at the end of the day, legacy is all about what the person thinks. We can all judge and sit back and say what his legacy is. But at the end of the day, it's his own legacy that he's worried about, not what we think. Although he does, look on social media. But at the end of the day, he's never going to be satisfied. That's just the way he is. That's my take. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Keith. Handle it.
Mr. Kevin Durant, sir. You're not going to win another ring. Do he need another ring? Yeah. He has to prove he can do it on his own. We all know Kevin Durant is one of the best players in this NBA.
Yep.
He can shoot, he can score, he can defend, he can do it all. We all know Kevin Durant is the best in the world. He's just not. He's not going. Not because he left OKC to team up with the team that beat him. That's why people is criticizing him and not LeBron. Yeah, LeBron did it. Yeah, LeBron went to Miami, but he didn't go to the team that beat him. You went to the team that beat you, and then you keep to get the championship. You and Draymond Green butted heads. That's why you didn't stay. You wanted to have your own team, and then you go get some Tiny and Kyrie because you wanted to be with Kyrie Irving. James Harden didn't want to go to Brooklyn. He had no choice to. He didn't want to stay in Houston because Houston's organization didn't want to send him to Philly with Daryl Morey. So that's why he was in Houston. That's why he was in Brooklyn. He had no choice to go to Brooklyn. He didn't want to go to Brooklyn. Morey went to Philly. He knew he wanted to play with Daryl Morey in the Sixers, so he went to Philly. That's what happened there in Brooklyn. He didn't want. It wasn't because of Kyrie. It wasn't because of KD. He just didn't want to be there. That wasn't his first choice. But him and I think Nash or somebody collided and butted heads. Anyway, point blank period. KD needs to suck it up, play with the team that he's got, and try to win a championship. Other than that, I don't think he's going to get another ring no more.
To answer the question, yes, he does have the ring. He has to win another ring. Simple fact of the matter is, you've already said a lot of what's happened. You went to someone else's team. Yet they allowed you to be the guy because you're a fragile ego. You have burner accounts, on Twitter in different places because you don't like to directly confront people, but you want to kind of pop off when you want to pop off.
True that.
We saw a little bit of this back when you were in OKC because you didn't have the testicular fortitude to go to Russ and say, "Hey, bro, I'm leaving." That's all it took. So I took what you saying. Look, I'm leaving. Your teammate, your boy, your Brody should not find out that you're leaving when the news breaks. You should be man enough to hit him up and say, "Hey, man, I'm leaving." That's all it would have took. And that's the type of thing that showed us glimpses into who Kevin Durant is behind the scenes. On the basketball court, Kevin Durant is a great player, but you have to look at the fact that he's soft. And he is soft. And I'm talking about mentally. Because you're in a good situation and you leave because you get really, let's be honest, he left Golden State because Draymond Green got at him and said, "We won rings without you. We didn't need you." That's what made him leave Golden State. Because he couldn't come back and look that man in the face and say, "You might have won without me, but you better with me, B." He couldn't do that. So he left. And what did he go do? He went with his friend because his friend's not going to treat him like that. Mm-hmm. But your friend don't play. Your friend crazy. Yep. That's the fact of the matter. You made a bed in Brooklyn. Then you thought you was going to sign a new contract, get paid, and you thought you was going to run. And the worst part of the whole situation is Kevin Durant, who himself fashions himself to be one of the best players in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the best players currently in the NBA. Thought you were going to go to another super team and be traded there. So you thought another team was going to trade for you, and Brooklyn was going to take what? Peanuts, a smoke and a pancake, a bag of chips, a bottle of vodka, fifth of Henny? What do you think they was going to take? No. In order for a team to get you, those same guys that you want to play with would be returning to Brooklyn for you, genius. If you didn't want to be there, you shouldn't have signed the contract. There was no way the NBA was going to let you out of this contract the first year into it. Heck no. So you've made a bed in Brooklyn, and now you've got to lay in it. And you know the answer to this question is yes. That's why you went out of Brooklyn. Your legacy is not solidified. You talk trash about LeBron for going from team to team, and you've done the same thing. Congratulations on being the biggest hypocrite in the NBA right now.
And that's why LeBron got 4 of them. And 5 on the way. 5 on the way.
If it's on 2K or your 2K?
No, we got Dennis the Menace back. Dennis the Menace back. Woo!
The guy that you didn't want, you let leave.
Who said I didn't want him?
Your organization didn't want him.
No,
the guy that let leave.
No, we want him. He was just on him. He was done. We offered him the bag. He didn't want the bag.
Right, but then later on, you let him walk. You didn't re-offer him anything after the season. So the guy again, you didn't want. I mean, I'm not saying he won't. No, I don't think he's going to make the difference between him.
Hey, one thing about the Lakers, we watching on legacy. When Dr. J busts hands out a deal, when the bus hand out a deal, you take it or leave it. You leave it. Oh well, there ain't no coming back to it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
We're
how
back on the Lakers.
Your team might need to take some money.
Laker free.
Can't be Laker free.
Your teams might need to take a script out of my book, our book, and legacy.
Whose book? Because I see you write no book.
Because what y'all doing now? Keith said it was 50 years ago. Has y'all been irrelevant?
It is not 50. It is more like 39, 40.
Well, first of all, that's key. They ain't got nothing to do with me. We don't have the same team, sir.
And why are you coming at my Sixers? I ain't say nothing about your Lakers. Say nothing.
Yeah, so before this turns into one of those Lakers love fests that nobody really wants, let's actually go ahead and discuss our last. Well, nobody but one person wants. Let's go ahead and discuss something that's a little bit more interesting to everyone and not just Freddie. So we decided that we're going to do a kind of preview for the different divisions. We're going to start in the East with the Atlantic Division. And go through the teams, we'll just go team by team, let everybody kind of get their thoughts on where the season ended last year, where they project based on what we have right now. Of course, things may change, trades, injuries, different things like that. But as of right now, how we feel about these teams. And let's start with the team that placed last in the division based on what I'm seeing. Well, we'll just figure out it. We'll just do it this way. We'll start with the Toronto Raptors. So, Freddie, let's give you a go first, sir. Toronto Raptors.
Yep.
How do you think they finished last year? Talk to us about their season last year and where you project them being this year. Basically, if you think they're going to be a team that's going to have a possibility to make the playoffs, or opportunity or not, and maybe some insight from your genius mind, since all Lakers fans are geniuses, in your belief, about their season.
Well, last year they didn't have that great of a season. They went 12-45, not good at all. And hey, this is a team that I believe that if this team don't really take that next step this year, to at least be in the play-in at least. I think a lot of these guys can be on a move, like Fred VanVleet, Siakam, You know, Gary Trent Jr., guys like that can be valuable pieces on a team that's trying to compete for a championship. That just need really good, quality players. I think this is a team that you can look out for to making trades with. I do predict them to be better this year, though. I do predict them to be flirting around the eighth, ninth seed, 10th seed with the play-in, just because the East is, and it's going to be hard. The East is loaded from top and bottom, and oh man, in that division, I definitely. It's out of them and the Knicks that I have at the last place in that division, honestly. Um, I mean, and they do have some bright pieces around. They do have Scotty Barnes, who's a good, your up and coming young player. So I mean, they do have young pieces to be, happy about. But I'm not sure, this team's gonna be ready to win right now. Honestly, that many games at least.
That's fair. That's fair. Comment. What do you think, sir?
Well, Toronto. I think they went through a rough time. I think losing Kyle Lowry really hurt them, and even though they had like a kind of very eventful off season, I mean, they added Joenko Hernangomez, I can't pronounce.
Juan Hernangomez.
Otto Porter Jr., who's a good pickup, by the way. DJ Wilson, free agent. Jeff Douth and Ron Harper Jr. I don't think those guys, the addition of those guys, are going to make that much of a difference. But with the regulars that they have, they still have a $5.5 million exemption, which they can use on a free agent. But I don't really foresee them really doing anything. That conference is really tough. That's going to be having them to compete. I think that Van Fleet's getting a little older, and even though Bonds was a rookie of the year, I think that he's going to have a promising future. But as far as what they added to what they already have, I don't foresee them really going that far in this division at all. I really don't. I think they're going to have to make some moves and use that exception, that $5.2.5 million exception to try to obtain someone of some type of credibility, maybe another power forward, somebody that can, be a veteran leader for that team.
Yeah, I'd have to, a lot of what y'all said. I think one of the lower teams in the league, I think Scotty Barnes is the future of the team. But you have a lot of pieces that are still left over from that one playoff deep run when they won the championship with what's his name?
Kawhi.
Slipped my mind. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi,
So
yeah.
I think that, you're at that point, like you said, where you're going to have to start to move that team along and just be like, we're probably not going to win what we have. We might as well go the route of like a Utah, so we can get draft picks, maybe some young players for some of these guys and try to rebuild the team up. I have them as the last team in the division.
Mm-hmm.
I have them as a possibility for a play-in, but 10th or 11th, really, because if you're honest, even in this division, the rest of the teams at least maintain how good they were last year. It got better, and Toronto added a few pieces, but nothing to speak of to a team that wasn't very good to begin with. So, I mean, for me, last of the division, slight possibility to maybe slide into playing as that 10th seed. But I just don't see this as a very good team. I think they had their window, but like you said, a lot of those guys have gotten older. They're just not the same anymore. What about you, Q? What's your thoughts?
She's sleepy, look like.
Look, it's been a long day.
She's thinking about that bed.
At 7 o'clock, and then you can't take him home. He gotta get on the bus. Then I gotta wait for him at school. It's been a long day. All right, so I mean, Toronto did make it to the playoffs. They did go the first round. They still got Siakam. They still got a Scotty Barnes. They still got a Fred VanVleet when he's healthy. He wasn't even in the series. He was hurt. They still got Precious Achiuwa, who is underratedly good. He kept them in some of those games with the Sixers in the playoffs. And I mean, they still got some young pieces. I don't see them getting too far. Possibly, I'll agree with Kyle here in the comments. Possibly a play-in, hopefully. The 7 through 8 is the ones that get in the play-in tournament. I can see them in the play-in tournament. I don't really see them making any type of noise.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And we'll go ahead and make that move on down the line now to a team that I think Key will be very interested in. We should actually just let her go first and talk about it. And that would be the Philadelphia 76ers.
See, I'm not gonna be like Freddie and blast and drill his Lakers.
That's funny. I might name me putting up more than anything else.
Oh God! But like my Sixers, yes, they are. They did upgrade. They did get some pieces. I felt like we should have got more, but it is what it is. We did pick up a Montrezl Harrell, which is great energy. Come off the bench. I'm happy with that. PJ Tucker, it's okay. I didn't want to pay a 37-year-old $10 million for 3 years, but it's okay. PJ Tucker got some bench pieces, which we desperately needed. James Harden, he sounds like he's all in. Again, it's still a second-round exit until y'all prove me otherwise. Still a second-round exit. I got the Sixers going to the playoffs. We're going to lose in the second round like we always do. They got to prove to me that they can get out of the second round, and they can't. So I'm going to be that realist Sixers fan and tell y'all, second-round exit again. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Second-round exit. We won't be number 1 seed because that's Milwaukee. I'll say maybe between 4 and 5. We get that seed, and then we're going to lose in the second round. Because the East is too stacked. You got Cleveland, you still got Milwaukee, you still got Boston. So we're 4 and 5 at the latest. Second round exit.
All right, Freddie.
What team are we talking about?
The Philadelphia 76ers, sir.
I'm looking that team up. I can't find that team. I'm not looking at. Do you mean the Philadelphia Rockets?
I ain't gonna hold you because that's pretty much what it is.
Let's be honest. This is just a remake of the Rockets. So, Daryl Murray, what make you think if it didn't work a few years ago, what make you think it's gonna work now, sir? Listen, it's gonna be a matter of time before Joel Embiid's traded. Let's get ready. They like that small ball stuff. That's who they are and all that. But on a serious note, it don't matter who they brought in. It don't matter who's the coach. It don't matter who's the second superstar. It don't matter. Philadelphia have 2 bad things going for themselves. One, they in a 50-year drought.
It is not 50. Answer. It's
You
not
told me
50.
50. You told me.
Well, I can't count. It's not 50, okay?
Well, not my problem.
83. Matter of fact, you wasn't thought of, and I wasn't either. So it's not 50.
And then second of all, until James Harden's off this team won't go far. This is a guy who folds like a cheap tent that he is when it comes around July. We know when it gets to the playoffs, he comes up short in big moments. So I don't trust him, and I don't care what kind of talent they have around them. This is what the Houston Rockets do.
Bet you they beat the Lakers during the regular season.
I bet you we have a better record and beat y'all twice this season.
No, sir. So Embiid's going to get his dunk back. That LeBron scared because he got posted, and then he's going to complain to the refs why he got fouled.
Hey,
Out of here.
well, Embiid better watch out because we got AD back, and guess what? We're going to have a 6-man of the year.
Glassman had
Hey, the Lakers going to have 6 man of the year this year.
Yeah.
6 men. Okay, you right. I will wait. I'll wait.
Russ going to be the 6 man of the year. Watch.
You were just saying how you wanted him traded, but yeah, he's going to be 6 man of the year.
I do want him traded. Basketball guy, please make it happen.
So much blasphemous on this show right now.
The king of blasphemy is here.
You know that I'm tired right now, sir.
Or are you lucky that you're tired?
Can you guarantee AD healthy?
You lightweight to me, sir.
He's gonna get out of bed and say, "Oh, I stumped my toe and cannot play." Get out of here, Freddie.
We know Joel Embiid the same way, so he might stump his elbow.
God forbid if he does get hurt, you better pray us in the beginning of the season.
Do I need to bring up Joel Embiid's injury report?
You brought up his injury report, but mind you, while AD was still on the bench in his street clothes, who was still playing through injuries? Joel Embiid was. So thank you. Your point is irrelevant.
He's still injury prone.
Your point is irrelevant.
He's still injury prone.
Your point is irrelevant, though.
He's
Injury prone. Yes, you brought up an injury report, but Joel Embiid was still playing while AD was sitting on the bench out of the playoffs watching Embiid go.
Cal, I can answer that question for you. No, he can't. All he can do is dream in his fantasy world.
I can guarantee you that he'll be healthy. I can guarantee you that AD will play 65 plus games this upcoming season.
He won't, because it's something called load management. And AD is going to sit out for at least a couple games.
And as Kyle so eloquently stated, AD makes Embiid look like Cal Ripken. Very true. Very true.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, comment, I do apologize that we ended up on a tangent about a certain team that seems to happen quite a bit. But please finish your comments.
Sir, if you're going to throw slugs, call it out.
Actually, you weren't the one that started it, so that's why I didn't call you out for it. If you did, I would have, and you know that.
No, I don't know that.
Okay. Well, then that means you just don't pay attention, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Man. I think Philadelphia, for the simple fact, I mean, they made some pretty good moves in the offseason. I think picking up Montrell and also picking up Tucker. If you notice, a lot of teams need to have that dog. That dog, and I think that by picking up Tucker and Montrell, they got that dog to go along with Embiid, and they're gonna be fun to watch with Maxey. I think they're gonna be a fun team to watch, but I think, as Keith stated, they're probably looking at maybe a second round exit. But I think they're gonna be a fun team to watch. Embiid, he did play a lot more last year than previous years. He seemed to come in better shape. I think Philly, like I said, they're gonna be. What?
You know what that means, comment? Since
what that mean?
It's every other year with Joel Embiid. It's this year or the next year. He's every.
All right. But getting back before Freddie gets into his thing, I think Philadelphia. I mean, again, with the East, I mean, like he said, Cleveland's a lot of these teams are getting better and better and better, and that's, to me, that's a tough conference. And Philadelphia, although they made some movements, I think losing Danny Green, although he really didn't shoot well last year, I think losing some of the players, I think they're going to be all right. But again, I agree with Key. I think second round exit is what they're going to see.
Okay. So I'll say this. Freddie does make a good point about James Harden, because James Harden claims that he's back and he's going to be dedicated and he's going to do what he can to help his team win. But it is James Harden. So, I mean, until he proves that he can do it, I kind of like what Key echoed earlier. Until he proves that he can do it, we're going to have to be like, all right, let's fall back and let's see what actually happens. So I think that's a big part of the 76ers. Now, I don't think anybody will argue that, there's softness in certain people, or we saw softness as a team. I'm not even calling anybody out with the Sixers last year. They made the move with Montrez and the move with PJ Tucker. That's going to solve that issue, because they're going to bring a different level of aggressiveness, different level of, just that, like you said, commented, dog. They just dogs. Like, they're there to be that. They're there for a certain reason. I think you do have to, like he said, you have to be wise enough to say, let me see them do it first. I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to sit here and say, oh, they're going to do it, blah, blah, blah. Let's let them show. But I think they can get it past the second round, actually, depending on how the matchups play, because I don't think you want to play Milwaukee. But I think depending on how the matchups go, I think they have a chance to be in that Eastern Conference final. And you never know, injuries can always, stop a team that's playing well. Mm-hmm. So I think they're one of the teams that I would say has a quality opportunity to do better than they've done in the past, just because they made the right moves. They had a lot of scoring, but you had guys like Tobias Harris that at certain times they just kind of don't show up. So now you're taking them out of the equation and you're saying, all right, we're going to move to doing it this way. We're going to go and we're going to get some guys that's tough, some veterans, some guys that only have a limited number of years left to play, but that want to win. And we're going to bring them in and try to help change the culture. You know, the blasphemous things have been said about Joel Embiid tonight. You know,
no, I had to set Freddie straight. Like, no, like, you're not going to do this to my guy. You're not going to do this. Yes, I know injury prone has a long list, but while he was still playing with those injuries, again, AD was sitting on the bench chilling in his model clothes.
Mm-hmm. So very true. And I mean, you know, if AD stays healthy, that changes things. If Embiid stays healthy, that changes things. But let's not forget, Embiid was the runner-up the past 2 years for the MVP. So that means he had to play most of the games, because you don't win those awards or even be considered if you're in your street clothes most of the year.
Right.
So, you know, that's my thing with the 76ers. I think Freddie has exited the building for the night. I don't know if he'll be back. But for me, the 76ers are a team to look at because they made the right moves. If James Harden can come and just do what they ask him to do,
right,
then that team can go deeper. But again, we have to see if they are going to be able to do it. But they have the ability, the capability to do it. And we'll move on to the New York Knicks.
Lord, do we got to talk about them? We all know they're going to be last. Like that.
Yeah, I said earlier that I thought they'd be next to last. I'm honestly going to have to change that to last now and put Toronto above them, because they got guys that just can't figure out how to be consistently good. They're good one year and they're just not after that.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson is not the needle mover.
Definitely not.
Him and RJ Barrett, yeah, that's a nice little duo, but just imagine, even Donovan Mitchell said it himself. He thought he was going to New York. But I don't know. I still am mind blown how New York messed that up. Like, y'all traded y'all pick in the draft, and then y'all got one back just to trade it away again to, you know, because y'all wanted to save all this money for Brunson, and then y'all still don't do anything. Y'all still get nothing. So y'all will be last in the barrel again.
You know what my take is, y'all, is that the Knicks remind me of the Dallas Cowboys. And what I mean by that is you got Jerry Jones, right, who's the owner, the general manager, the bartender, the custodian, and then you got the Knicks, who got Knucklehead, who also owns, if I'm correct, the Rangers as well. So you're not going to get rid of him. If you want to change the New York Knicks culture, you got to get rid of the top. And as long as he's there, because guess what? At the end of the day, he still got that TV contract. They still going to make a lot of money. And if you notice, when's the last time they had a real impact player? You know, but I think the last one was probably Pat Ewing, if you really want to look at it. I mean, they've got some good players, but Pat Ewing was probably the last, and he was the number one pick, or number 2 pick. But in order for the Knicks to somehow improve, because first of all, they spent a lot of money on some players that were, you know, over the hill. Fournier and what's the guy's name? The little guy there with the bad knees from UConn. They spent a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, he was great, but you know, yeah. There you go, Kemba. You know, I mean, so the Knicks, unfortunately, are the Knicks. You know, they got so much money, they just have a bad way about how they go about getting free agents. Look at that. Everybody thought, I don't know about y'all, everybody thought that Durant and Kyrie were going to go to the Knicks. Now, if that would have happened, then you could give them some credence. But the way the Knicks are right now, they're terrible. You know, Jalen Brunson, good player. I played against his dad, know his dad real well, who now works for the organization, by the way. Yeah. And, you know, it's Sorry, the Knicks are just sorry. And the thing about it, they still packed the house. They still got the yes contract, the TV contract. The owner's still making his money, and the Knicks are going to be the way they are until the unforeseeable future.
Because Tibbs stinks. Tom Thibodeau stinks.
Yeah,
Like
but he ain't got much to work with though. He ain't got much. You got Randall, who's booing at the crowd. Never mind them. He's booing at the crowd. You got Randall. He's off the hook. He had one good year. Got a max contract. Now he's a mess. You know, he knows they don't want him there. He don't want to be there, and nobody else wants him. You know, they got RJ Barrett, great 6'9" point guard, can do some things, left-handed, needs to go to his right. You know, like just like Randall needs to go to his right. They all one-handed. But you know what I mean? Other than that, the fact is the Knicks suck. And I'm sorry to put it like that. You know, I feel bad for New York because, you know, New York's the Mecca, man. To go with that product on the court, you got to stop from the top, get rid of the owner, but he ain't going anywhere. Just like Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys.
That's a great take on that. I never thought of that. The Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. Yep, you are absolutely right.
Thank you.
That's a real take, right? That's real. I mean, I'm not even saying anything else except for, like I said before, after that. That was all that needed to be said. I don't feel like that needs to be touched again. So we got 2 teams left in the division to discuss. Key, we'll start with you again. Tell us about the Nets.
Oh, God. Okay, the Nets. So you all know the fiasco. Kevin Durant wanted to leave. Nobody wanted to take on that. Nobody wanted to give up the house, the car, the kids, the house, and the dog for Kevin Durant. So nobody wanted to give up Kevin. Nobody wanted Kevin Durant. So he decided, I'm going to stay now. So he's going to stay. Kyrie is staying. So there's your backcourt. When Kyrie is healthy, when he's available, and when he wants to play basketball, Kyrie is great. We all know Kyrie can play basketball. I'm not denying his talent and his skill. It's just his availability that questions everything. So then now you have Ben Simmons, who hasn't played basketball in 2 years. You said your back is hurt. What have you done for your back to be hurting, sir? What have you done? Absolutely nothing. Now we're seeing these tapes again of you shooting. Seen that before. So your best bet is you're not going to be point guard. You're not going to have the ball because that's going to be in Kyrie and KD's hands. So you're not going to have the ball. They're going to make you do. Steve Nash is going to make you play underneath the basket because that's what you like to do. You can't shoot. I think Joe Harris comes back. They got Royce O'Neal. At best, I think the Nets will be a play-in. They'll be a play-in to fight for. They won't be in the top.
Man, what's your thoughts?
Well, you know, I kind of agree with Key. I think, you know, the addition of Markieff Morris, Royce O'Neal, and TJ Warren, if he can play the way he played in the bubble, that's going to be significant addition. And if Morris does come back, I think that's going to help because it gives him perimeter shooting. Then you got Patty Mills as well. You know, again, here's the dilemma. Again, you got KD talking about he want to get rid of Steve Nash, our general manager, or him. I know they said they're kind of eyeing things out, but at the end of the day, you know, before Nash even stepped on to the Nets, Kyrie and KD were saying, well, we're going to coach him. We don't even need Nash. That set a bad example right there, number one. And then when KD says, it's either Nash and the general manager, whatever the name is, or me.
Sean Marks.
That to me sets, again, you want to build a culture. Again, you start from the top. By him coming in there, I don't care what y'all say. Him going there at camp is going to be very frustrating for Nash because he knows what his best players are saying about him. And to put him in that situation, he knows he probably didn't deserve to have the coaching job anyway. To me,
he definitely didn't. I deserved it more than him.
Like Mark Jackson. It should be like a Mark Jackson, someone that really deserves it, that paid their dues. But anyway, he was put in that spot because they knew they could kind of like manipulate him. I believe. You know what I mean? But as far as the Brooklyn Nets concerned, if Kyrie is in this stratosphere, I mean, if he's in this if he's in America mentally, if he's in the USA mentally, or if he's out that place where the world is flat or whatever, if he's out there, then he's a mess. But if he comes, and to me, it seems like he's got, well, it appears he got his head on right. I mean, he's kind of doing the right things. If they get together, you think about it, they could be very dangerous. If Ben Simmons can just shoot the ball, I don't care if it's 5 times a game, just shoot the damn ball.
Exactly.
And you know something? Make 65% of your foul shots.
Yep.
Do what you do best, which is play defense, rebound. You're the best, one of the best in the league on the transition. As long as you don't take that jump shot, you're one of the best in transition. You're gonna add to the defensive woes because we all know Kyrie don't play too much defense. Neither does Williams, but they got Clarkson in there as a rim protector. I think they could be a better team defensively. I think if Kyrie, again, depending upon his mental state of mind, and KD, because KD's got a lot to prove, because a lot of people are mad at the fact of him wanting to leave, even though he had a 4-year contract. So I think a lot of the fans in Brooklyn will probably be pissed. But you know something? Winning cures all issues. If they can put their act together and get a 5-10 game winning streak, they could be dangerous in the 7-game series if they get that far.
Yeah, I mean, for me, added pieces. We get that. They said a lot of good things as far as covering the main differences. But for me, it's quite simple. I don't trust Kyrie any more than I trust James Harden to actually keep his mind together for a whole season. Right?
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, I expect him to miss games as well. He's another guy who he's been injury prone since he had the big injury. He's been missing games. So I think that this is definitely a team that's going to end up probably on the top end of the play-in. So probably like 7 or 8. But I think they're going to be, like you said, someone that's looking at the play-in as their way to the playoffs. In that play-in, I think they're a team who should win a play-in game. But then you get to a real series, and then you're playing one of the better 2 teams in the East. And that's when things get a little ugly because you just don't have enough, I feel like. And I think that's going to be a problem for them this year. That's going to be a problem as long as Kyrie is there. I think when he leaves, that frees up money, and then you're able to do more as far as building a better team around Kevin Durant. So, that's what I think there. So I'm thinking it's a team that will make the playoffs. They will be in the play-in, but I think they'll be the home team for the play-in. And then, of course, the last team of the division, and we'll go ahead and start with you this time. The Boston Celtics.
Hi, y'all. I mean, last time I was on the air when Fred let me talk about, the old school, because I am a historian. I told y'all I am not a Celtics fan, nor will I ever be a Celtics fan, just because of what I know. You already understand that. So, but getting back, I got to keep it real because you did ask me this question.
Absolutely.
Boston Celtics have made a tremendous move in getting what they actually need. If you watched the playoff last year, where were the place that they were the most efficient was a true point guard. They had Marcus Smart, who was great defensively, a leader. He got that dog. But I mean, they needed what I felt was, a traditional point guard to set the whole team up, who had the experience, who could penetrate, who could dish, who could shoot the jump shot, the perimeter, who has respect of his peers. Malcolm Brogdon, man, that boy is nice. I think that was a great pickup. I think he's going to add so much to that team. I think he's going to take a lot of pressure off Smart, because Smart's really not a true point guard. When he came out of college, he was a 2, guaranteed. He come now, he's known as a defensive player, which he is. I mean, got defensive player of the year. He's more of a defensive point guard per se. But now you got a true point guard who's going to be able to distribute the ball, who's going to make everybody around him better. And he's a leader. And that's what I think they really needed. They picked up Gallinari, but he got hurt. I don't know how long he's going to be out. I don't know how long that's going to be.
I think Gallinari's done for the season.
Is he? Oh,
Yeah.
See, if he is, that's going to be. I mean, they picked him up, for a specific reason to be, hit that perimeter jump shot as well. I think the Celtics, they got a great coach. Again, the culture. Again, as I said, they start from the top. The Celtics start from the top. You break it down. They got a great new coach, new young coach. They got the players believe in them. They had a bad year at the first half of the year. They came on strong the second half of the year. And then you got the two Tatum. You got Brown. I mean, they got a good. They got Mr. Williams. They got a very good nucleus. They got a good bench. The addition of Malcolm Brogdon is going to make them even better. I think 1 year under the belt, learning that coming from a new system, new coach. Now they have the experience. A lot of those guys have the experience playing for the new coach and a new system. I think they're going to be very tough to deal with. I think they may come out the East. I think it's going to be between them and Milwaukee. I think they'll watch out for Cleveland too. But I mean, I think right there, I think the Celtics, by the additions that they made, and the players who are putting the effort in the offseason, you guys seen Jaylen Brown, what he's doing. You see Tatum, what they're doing. I think they got something to prove, and for them to make it to the finals when they weren't even supposed to make it to the top 6 the way they played at the beginning of the season. I think they're going to be a great team this year. As long as injuries are going to be a key factor. Malcolm has had some problems with injuries in the past, but if he can stay healthy, Celtics going to be tough to beat. And how much I hate for me to say that, but I think they're going to be tough to beat.
Okay, Keith.
Yeah, I got Boston in probably top 2. If they're not number 1, they could be 2. They did pick up Brogdon, which is a great pickup. If Brogdon stays healthy, he has his injury history there. Still got, I love Robert Williams down there as that big man. I love Robert Williams. We still got Grant Williams as well. Marcus Smart. They was only a couple pieces away because Tatum disappeared in the fourth quarter in the finals. Disappeared. So you're gonna need that shooter, and definitely I think Boston can get back there.
Yeah, I think Boston is definitely the other team besides, and we'll talk about them on another show. But besides Milwaukee, I think that they're other team that most people can comfortably see coming out of the East. I think they'd be a top 3 seed in the regular season. I know sometimes they try to position themselves at the end of the season so that they play certain teams at certain times. But I think they'll be a top 3 seed in the East. I think they'll be a team that'll contend. I think we'll see them in the Eastern Conference Finals more than likely. There is a 4th team that doesn't look to have lost a lot of its luster in Miami. They should be better this year as well. We'll talk about them, of course, in another episode. But I think they're definitely, to me, one of the top 3 teams coming out of the Eastern Conference. So, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our coverage of the Atlantic Division. We did get a comment from Kyle about Gallinari saying he hopes to make it back by the end of the season. He did tear his ACL. I did look it up. That normally keeps you out, for an entire year. But you never know. He may have some way of healing that he can try to get back by the end of the year. But I'd say more than likely you expect him to be out. But it doesn't hurt for him to be focused on the end of the year as it's time to return. So, Carmen, I know one of the things that we do when we have you on the show is to just have you take us out with a little story. So how about you drop a little dime of knowledge on us here, sir?
I got so many, man. You guys are gonna be man. I'm gonna give you one real quick. I'm gonna save the Dr. J one for a little later. I'm gonna say that one. Okay. Having the opportunity to play against Dr. J. I'm gonna hold off on that one. But I'm gonna give you one real quick. This is interesting, by the way, too, because it kind of sets into what we were talking about the last time we was on. I happened to I played ball in college. I did my thing, and then I went on to be a referee, and then I ended up broadcasting as well. A local team out here in New Bedford, Mass. UMass Dartmouth basketball. Anyway, there was a team, a professional team that they wanted to bring down here in New Bedford, and the team was called the Boston Frenzy. Now you're like, what is he talking about? Listen to this. So when I found out they were bringing a professional team, there were 2 local players out here who signed contracts with the Boston Frenzy. A guy by the name of Dan Savage, who played at UMass Dartmouth, went to Vegas, won a lot of money and purchased a team and brought them down here. And I happened to, I was asked to go, because I'm a referee, to referee their practices. So I turn around. I'm seeing players from all over the country. There's one 7'6" guy out of North Carolina that I remember. Moses Malone's son was another one, and a couple other guys. Troy Brown from Providence College. Anyway, a whole bunch of guys. But anyway, I turned my head without them telling me this. I turned my head, and guess who I see? Guess who the coaches of the Boston Frenzy happened to be? Joe Bryant, who happens to be Kobe Bryant's son.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So now see where I'm going with this? See where I'm going with this? And I ended up meeting. Now, I'm not at this time. He was not very friendly with his son at that time. I don't know if y'all remember the little issue that they had. So they weren't very friendly at all. But the story I want to tell you is like, again, being old school. What happened was they were trying to make a transition. They started off real well. And then all of a sudden, Joe said, well, you know something? We need to get some of them N1 guys. Remember the N1 tour? So we're going to get Helicopter and Spider. So now they were just on that N1 tour. They come in and play for the Boston Frenzy. All right. They did their thing, but they were more street ball than actual structured players. Now, here's the one that I want to end it with, because I know you guys want to go do your thing. Again, they had like I don't know, it's like a door was open. I mean, people were coming and leaving. I don't know how that was going, but so many people were coming and leaving. It was crazy. So anyway, Joe Bryant said, you know something? I'm going to play. And I got a video I can show you guys too. Anyway, he goes and said, I'm going to suit up. Now, mind you, he's 50 years old. 50. Now, this is real good professional basketball. I mean, this is all over the East Coast. He goes up and he scores 50 points at the age of 50.
Wow.
And I'll send you guys the video. I'll send y'all the video. That was an amazing thing. That was amazing. But anyway, that was one of my stories. Next week is going to be about Nate Archibald. I got to tell you about that one.
Okay.
I got so many. The best one and the worst one is Marvin Bonds. Y'all know about him at all? I didn't think so. But that's a real good one too, by the way. That one's good. That one might bring a tear to your eyes. That's a tough one. But anyway, yeah, that's my story for this week. I'm gonna get better and better. My stories will get more interesting as the weeks go along. But thank you for giving me the opportunity. I claim I am the historian, but I thank you for the opportunity. You know what I mean?
Oh, no problem, man. We appreciate having you on. We love the stories, man. We love to hear about the history of the game, man. Absolutely.
Well, I'm your guy. I'm the one.
I can't wait for the story.
Oh yeah, the Dr. J one. Y'all gonna love that one.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear that one. So we will be excited to hear that. And everybody, make sure you tune in. We're normally 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you tune in with us next week. We'll definitely get another story from the Con Man, as well as we'll be talking one of the other divisions. You'll have to tune in to find out which one as we go through and discuss the NBA from last season and our expectations based off what people have right now. So appreciate everyone for tuning in, everyone who checks out the replay, and we'll see you next week.